welcome to my Flosstube channel, Stitching Fleur. I'm Fleur and I'm going to be talking to you today about my new Lowery stand. This is going to be a little different from my normal videos. My husband's going to help me to construct and put this together, and so you may see his hands, or he might come into the view a little bit, so we can show you out there who may be considering getting a stand how the Lowery is. Now, before I start, please know that I'm not paid by Lowery. I don't get any benefits for doing this video from them. I'm not advertising or anything like that. Just to put it out there, okay? I thought it might be good to put it out there into the Flosstube community for anyone that's maybe considering a stand and is not sure what they look like, how they work. So this initial part, we're going to show you how to put it together, and then in the next segment you'll see it actually next to my stitching spot, and then we'll go from there. So I made the leap in getting a floor stand. It was more of a shove from my husband. I've been talking about getting one for a while. A lot of people know I have problems with my hands and the joints in my hands, and it was time. It was time, and that's the shove that I needed. So I purchased it from so-and-so in the UK. Over here in Australia, just the standard Lowery stand costs $298, and that doesn't include postage, and that's for a Lowery stand from a stockist here in Australia. So-and-so at the time, there may be cheaper ones in Australia, but from what I've seen and the research that I've done, $298 is about the cheapest ones we have over here for a Lowery stand. It's too much for me. I can't justify that. So basically I went onto the so-and-so website and I purchased the Lowery. It cost me in Australian $111.05. That was for the standard Lowery, and I also purchased the extra long L bar, which I will explain to you when we get to that part as to what that is and what it does and the benefits from purchasing that if you have a large couch arm like we do. That extra long L bar was $36.60 Australian. So those two together, and then the postage to get it to here in Australia was just over $36. Now the stand, when I ordered it, it took 2 weeks to get to Australia and another week on top of that as it sat in customs for a week. So 3 weeks, and it was on my doorstep and ready to put together. So when it came, it was in a big brown box. I've since thrown that box out. This is the standard box that you get your Lowery stand in. It's a white box. It has everything in it. All the pieces that you have are vacuum sealed to some cardboard. So just at the end, pull that out for me, dear. I've already taken them all off. So you basically get cardboard and everything is vacuum sealed. Everything is covered in plastic, including your Allen keys, and all the pieces are all covered in plastic. I ordered the powder grey coated Lowery stand. They do have the stainless steel. At the time it wasn't in stock, but I actually prefer the powder grey. It's got almost like a sparkly effect to it. So everything was taken off and all the plastic removed. Now this is the base plate. I put it up here because I had it on the table. I moved it. I scratched my dining table. So this is the base plate. Now I've already put this together and used it, so I've actually deconstructed it so you can see how to put it together. So the base plate comes separate. Everything else is vacuum sealed to that cardboard that I just showed you. This base plate is quite heavy, which is good, and it will come with blue plastic on one side and blue plastic on the other. It has the Lowery logo engraved. That is the top side. The bottom side has the groove, like a little, what would you call it?
Bevel. Like
a bevel, and the screw goes in there. So we're going to show you very slowly how we put the stand together, okay? And I'll sort of talk through it as we go. Thank you. So this is the box that it comes in. All right. So when you get it, you get all these pieces. So you get a lever pin with the rubber stopper on the end. You get an Allen key. Again, all these things are covered in plastic. So you're going to have to take all the plastic off first. With the stand, you get the clamp that looks like this. Okay. And you get the stand itself with the lever, and in it sits, when it comes, oh, it's got to be unscrewed, hold on a sec. Okay, and it comes together, it has, this is how it comes to you, okay? So it comes with your L bar, your standard L bar in it, the tower, the little levery bit here, and the screw. Now this screw in the bottom, you need to use your Allen key to release it, and then we'll show you where to go from there. So the first thing you should do is remove the L bar from your tower piece, which I'm going to give to my husband, and we'll try and keep it in view. So you'll need your Allen key, and you need to use that to extract the screw from the bottom. And that's the screw that's in the bottom. So one side's flat, okay? And you get your base plate, which you can see here. Now remember, this has got the beveled side. When this screw goes in this side, the reason for that is once it's fully screwed in, it will be flush with the base plate, okay? And this side is the side that will sit on the floor, okay? Now this goes into here, that then attaches into the bottom of the tower, okay? So you're basically gonna have to sit there and pop this on one end, put the screw through here to attach to your tower piece with the Allen key. Nice and tight so it's not falling apart. Okay. So that's your base plate attached and your tower piece. Now you've got these little levers and you've got these holes. I don't know if you can actually see them, but there's holes in intervals all along the way. Okay, so your L bar sits in here like this. Okay, so that sits in there like this. Now, depending on the height of your lounge will depend on where you want this to sit. So for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to briefly show you here just one slight height change. Then I'm going to show you over at my stitching spot where I actually put it, okay? So at the moment we've attached the base plate to the tower and dropped the L bar in there. Now this is loose, okay? So this is not actually positioned without having that movement. So at the moment we've dropped that in. So the next piece that we do is the lever pin that comes like this. This lever pin, you remove the rubber piece off the end here. Now say if your couch is a little bit higher, you lift the L bar, and we'll just do it from the first run, and you use the pin and you push it through, all the way through till it goes. Now it's up to you, you can put the rubber stopper back on the end if you like. If you're like me, you may like to curl up on the couch, so you might have to move it just to make it a little bit higher to cater for your legs, or you might like to put your feet out on an ottoman, so you might want to drop it again. So trying to pull it out continuously can be a bit annoying if you've always got to take the rubber stopper off. So for this purpose, we've just popped it in here. You drop it down again. See how it's still spinning? Okay, so when you're at your stand and you've adjusted your height as to where you want it to be, okay, so you've got to think about when you've got your Q-snap scroll rods, hoops attached to the end of here, whereabouts do you want the height to be? What's going to be the most comfortable for you when you're stitching? You don't want to have it too high that you're sort of stitching with your hands in the air, because that's going to get pretty tiring. Okay, so this lever here, we use this to tighten it up, okay? So it's very easy, it's very easy to use, it's very gentle on my hands, and you just click it, and this will stop it from moving. See how this doesn't move now? Now if you've got to get up to go somewhere, it's just a small half turn, and you can swing your stand, and you're off to go. Bring it back, half turn, locks it back in place, so it's not moving. Now, what else goes on top of here? The clamp to hold your Q-snap frame. So this is the clamp here. On one side, it's got the grooves here where you put your frame into, and then you spin this to tighten it in at pretty much concertinas, which I'll show you when we go over to my stitching spot a little bit closer. The other side again has one of these screw levers here, and this is just to help to tighten it onto here. Okay, so what we do, I'll get my husband to help to put this on. Now we're doing this on the short elbow. I'll show you the long one shortly. Okay, now the beauty of this one is you can loosen this. You probably can't even know. We have to cut that bit out. Okay, so with this one, you can loosen the lever and you can move it across. You can only go as far across as the length of this stand. Now the standard L bar across is 6 inches, okay? 6 inches across. So you can go out as far as that, and then just slowly tighten the lever here so it grips onto the bar, or you can go all the way in, pushing it all the way in, tighten the lever, and that will stop it from moving. Okay, now this little lever here is your friend, because as soon as you loosen it, you can turn this 360 degrees. If you need to get to the back of your work, just one small switch and you're good to go. Another half turn back and it locks it back in place so nothing moves again. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to show you is I actually purchased the extra wide L bar. This one is 12 inches wide, so it's double the standard. So everything you see at the moment is everything you get when you purchase the standard Lowery. Everything that you have here. So if you don't have a wide couch, you're good to go. This is all you need. If you have a wider couch, or maybe you stitch in bed and you want a slightly longer frame, then you purchase the extra wide L frame. Now this is, again, like I said, only an extra 12 inches. If you're in a situation where you have a ginormous arm and 12 inches is not enough for you, you can actually contact Lowery at workstands.com and you can discuss with them a custom L bar. So you might want it to be 24 inches long, and they may be able to arrange that for you. They can do custom lengths, but you must discuss with them directly. They don't actually just sell different lengths. It's only the 6-inch standard one and the 12-inch wide L bar that you can purchase straight off stores. Okay, so we're going to remove this so I can show you the extra long L bar. So I'll just take this off. You might do that. Yeah, snap it up. Out it comes. Okay, now we're going to take out the lever pin again, just for the purpose of this. So again, we put the base plate together, that attaches the tower on, we loosen this up, loosen the little lever so you can drop the L bar in. This is the extra long L bar. Which is 12 inches long. So you can see if you have an extra wide couch or a recliner like I have, that sometimes you need that additional length to get over the arm and then still have enough room to be able to have your frame in front of you. Okay, so I'm going to get my husband to lift this up so we can just show you. Now you can use any of these holes depending on how high your chair is and how tall you are. So we're just going to put it up to the first. So this lever pin that comes with the rubber stopper on the end, remove the rubber stopper off it and pop it in where you would like it to be. Okay, and then drop it down. Now remember, all that does is stop it from dropping all the way down. If you don't have the lever pin and you release, so let's just revise this and say this a bit better. So if I turn this, it tightens it. It's not going to move anywhere, okay? That's not going anywhere. But if I didn't have the lever pin in, and I'll show you, and I apologize for the noise, if I take this lever pin out, or I forget to put it in, or I'm not sure what it's for, and I think, oh, I'll just leave it, it'll be fine. You'll find out very quickly what happens. So if I release the lever, boom, straight down, okay? So to make sure, don't forget to put your lever pin in, okay? So we'll just lift that back up again, pop it in the bottom one for a moment, and there you go. This is what tightens it up and keeps it in place, okay? I'm going the wrong way. Okay, so that tightens it, keeps it in place. Something happens and you need to get up, phone rings, kids need your attention, just a half spin back the other way, moves it so you can get up and go and do what you need to do, bring it back in to do your stitching, half turn, oops, sorry, half turn, done. you're back to doing what you need to do. Now just attach this clamp back on again. Just spin that in, and there you go. And you can push this out further. So again, because this is the extended one, you can make it even longer, okay? Now, I will explain it here, but also over at my stitching spot. This is really fantastic. It's really, really good. What I've found with the Lowery though, is you do need additional weight. So even if you pop this under your couch and you have the foot of your chair sitting on the corner of the metal plate, you may still need some additional weight. And I found this more so when I'm stitching, because you're going to get that vibration, which you'll see when we go over there. But also when you swing it to get up and go somewhere, if there's not enough weight on the base plate, the arm will actually dip down, okay? So you just need to be mindful that you may need additional weight, just some extra books, a heavy weight, a doorstop, anything you can use just to put a bit of additional weight on. We might show you what we're using when we get over there, just temporarily for the moment until we find something that works better. So I'm going to stop the video for the moment, and then we're going to go over to my stitching spot and we'll carry on for the last bit from there, okay? Yeah, okay. Alright, welcome to my stitching spot. This is a little piece of my world that not many people get to see. Now, as you can see, I put the Lowery next to my left side. You can put it on your right, you can put it on your left, it's just totally up to you. This is how I use my Lowery stand. Okay, so at the moment it's just sitting as per normal, and I'm going to show you how I set it up. Now I've got the lever pin in my hand. Now for me sitting here, as you can see, I've got quite a wide arm on my recliner. Now sometimes I'll sit with my feet curled up, so obviously I'll need my Lowery up slightly higher when I'm sitting curled up, and the other times generally I'll have my feet up on an ottoman. So that's where I'm going to put the lever at the moment, okay? So at the moment it's at the side. I haven't put any weight on it. The reason for that is I'm going to show you what happens if you don't put any weight on it, okay? So it's just sitting just underneath. You can push it up closer to the couch if you want to. There's no problem with that whatsoever. Okay, so I'm going to lift it. For me, I put it in the third rung up. You can put it in whatever you like, depending on your height and your preference, okay? So just lift it up, pop in the lever pin, and it comes down. Now I haven't locked this in place, all right? So it's got freedom to move. As soon as you move this little lever here on the side, that's going to lock it in. See how that's not moving now? If I just twist it just a little, that allows me to swing it back in, okay? So I'm just going to lock it temporarily for the moment so it's not swinging all about. Now this is the extra long L bar, so I'm going to move that out and then again tighten it back in like that. Okay, now for me, I'm working on my Heaven and Earth Peace Fingers of God. Okay, so it's in a long Q-snap like this, and I'm working on the far right hand side. I work from right to left. Depending on where you are, will depend on where you want to have your clamp. If you're working in the middle, you might want to move your clamp in slightly, so you loosen this up, push it in a bit further. If you want to have it out, as I do, then I move it in, okay? So when you're attaching your piece, whether you're using a Q-snap frame, whether you're using a hoop, or whether you're using a scroll rod, it's all the same to attach it on, okay? Now what I do is I loosen this little lever here. This allows freedom of movement, so 360-degree turn. Now when you're using this clamp, the actual mechanism goes to the back of your work once it's attached, okay? The flush side faces you, okay? And it saves injury as well. You don't want to be knocking your arm on the lever there, okay? But when you're attaching it in, we loosen this little lever here. That allows it to turn and face this towards you. This is so we can attach our working piece onto it. Now I'm quite particular with my pieces. With my Q-snaps, I use felt underneath the clamps for multiple reasons, like I put in previous Flosstube videos. I use a Q-snap guard. So with my Lowery stand, it is no different. So you can use rubber matting. I'm just using paper towel at present, a couple of sheets folded down to go over the side of my work, okay? Just like that. so it can go in between the clamps, just as a bit of extra protection. You don't have to, it is a personal preference only. Okay, so now I'm going to attach my working piece into the Lowery stand. So what we do is we get the lever, just turn it around this way. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to make sure that the wrong piece, or the back of your work, is facing where the screw part is, because this is going towards the back. Once you've finished and you turn it back, the flush side's towards you and your working piece is in front of you. Okay, so let's just pop that in there. It is quite loose. Pop it in like that, hold it up, and then we use this to put the clamp down. Okay, and then we just use this to screw down and clamp it on. Now, you don't want to be too aggressive, but you do want to get it quite tight. You want to make sure you're not going to crack your Q-snap clamps by putting way too much pressure on it, but you want it to have enough pressure. So, like say for instance at the moment, there's not enough pressure. See how I can move this? Now you might not think that's such a big deal, but when you're working on it for a couple of hours and you're pulling thread through your fabric, it is going to start to move the frame. Okay, so you do want to have it down, but you do want to be mindful that you don't want to damage your Q-snaps. And if you do, it's an excuse to that. Okay, so that's pretty close. Now what I've tended to do is the little rubber stopper that goes on the end of the lever pin down here that you remove. I've been putting it on the end here, only because I find these a little sharp sometimes. They're not too bad, but I just find them a little bit sharp. Okay, so now that that's attached, so wrong side on the side of the lever, because this is all going to the back. So we turn that over, and you look at where you're sitting. Now that's going to sit perfectly for me. But before I lock it in place, you need to decide what angle. Maybe you like to work like this, maybe to a slight angle like this, or for me at the moment will be just like that, and then you tighten it in with the little lever here, and that's as is. See, that's not moving, it's not moving anywhere. When you lock in your stand here on the side, that will ensure that the frame stays as it is. It won't move forward, it won't swing forward. Okay, at the moment there's no weight on the end, so that's why this is happening. Now, when I'm stitching and I'm working, if there's no weight on the sides, if I'm constantly going back and forth, obviously I'm exaggerating it here for you, but what you'll find is when there's no additional weight on that bottom plate down there, every time you pull thread through your fabric, it bounces. You're going to get a little bit of that, even with the weight on the end, when you put some additional weight on. But it's certainly not going to be as exaggerated as what it is without that additional weight, okay? So the other idea of having weight on the end, and I'm hoping that doesn't touch the ground because I'm a little particular, but if I loosen the lever here on the side, okay, we've got our lever pin in, so it's not going to drop down. If you don't have that lever pin in, okay, and you loosen your lever here on the side in order to move it out of the way so you can get up and that lever pin's not in, this will fall straight to the ground. Okay, so lever pin in means you won't drop the height, but you can move your frame. Now if I move my frame and it doesn't have any additional weight on it, can you see, like if I let go, that's going to drop. Okay, so whilst this weight, it does have a weighty base, it's not weighty enough when you have your frame attached to it. So if I have to get up in a hurry to go and attend to the kids and I push it out, loosen up so I can push it out of the way, if I'm not holding on to this, that is going to go straight down because there's not enough weight on the base. Now if you're lucky enough to have a chair where the chair leg goes the whole length of the arm, then you may be able to get away with it. Otherwise you need to put some additional weight on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing it back, I'm going to get my husband to place some additional weight. Now we just had some spare tiles in our linen cupboard, so I'm just temporarily using that till I find something prettier. So we're just going to pop that on the end. Okay, so I put some additional weight on the end there. Now what that means is when I'm working, so let's tighten this back up to exactly how it would be. When I'm working, you're not going to get the same reverberation when you're stitching. because we don't need that. We just want to be able to work without, you know, feeling like we're bouncing a basketball while we're actually stitching. The other thing is, if I need to get up and I need to get up in a hurry and I've got that weight on the end, I can push it out in front of me. There's enough weight on there that it won't matter. You can tighten it back up so it just sits there like that. It doesn't swing any further because it will keep going. But the additional weight means it's not going to drop to the floor, okay? And that's the last thing you want to do, is come back and find that your stand's not doing what you need it to do. Okay, so I do recommend that you put some additional weight onto the end of it, okay? And that is how I use my Lowery stand. Now, some little other little tips that you need to know is any of these levers here, so these little screw-in levers, they come out completely, but these levers here and the lever pin, if you lose them, you can actually buy additional ones of just those little accessory pieces. So these little lever screws and the lever pin, you can buy those additionally. They're about £2 each, and you need to get them directly from workstand.com, who is the owners and people responsible for Lowery. But there you go, short and sweet. I hope that helps you if you're looking at a floor stand. It's not too expensive. For me, I was weighing up whether or not to buy one in Australia, just a lap stand. But to buy a lap stand was going to be more than buying a Lowery stand and all the additional pieces that I've purchased, plus postage. It was still cheaper than buying a lap stand or buying the Lowery here in Australia. So I hope that helps you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. But yeah, happy stitching everyone, and I'll see you in my next update. Bye. It's getting away.